Evening, Edgar. Could I get your professional opinion?
Please speak, but I have something important to tell you.
This strain of flu, it's very different from the one I saw in Europe. It's downright peculiar.
Really? What makes you say that?
I've just looked at the blood of one of our recently deceased.
I see. Do you have anything more to go on?
This disease spreads and looks like the Spanish flu, but its effects differ greatly. The London strain is different from the continental one.
This is very interesting. Did you find something else?
Yes. Unlike the flu, the infected begin to show an increase in outwardly aggressive behavior. More than simple agitation. Once docile people become violent.
You mean like rabies? Is there a chance we could create a vaccine, Jonnathan, like Pasteur? By the stove, that would be smashing.
There's a lot we're not seeing here. But it is spreading, and quickly. If we don't act, the whole city could be lost.
But Jonnathan, we've a fantastic opportunity sitting right here in front of us. A weapon of choice.
What on earth do you mean?
Why, you, my dear boy. With your expertise and your blood, we could isolate the properties that course through your veins. Think about the possibilities.
I admit it did occur to me. Blood seems to be the common factor in all of this.
I totally agree. We're in uncharted territory here. Maybe it's just wishful thinking, but imagine the possibilities.
We'll discuss this more later. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you, Jonnathan. But as I said, I needed to talk to you. I have some rather bad news.
Yes?
I'm afraid it's your sister.
My sister?
She's to be buried this evening at Whitechapel Cemetery. Your mother published the obituary this morning.
I see.
I'm sorry, Jonnathan. Please accept my condolences.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital.
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity. What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well,
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
And why do you believe you're a vampire? Please, describe to me how you feel.
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood.
I see.
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal.
I'm assuming you must be a patient here.
It's only a cover to hide from my enemies.
Who are these enemies you mentioned?
I cannot say for sure.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you. I see. Don't worry.
Thank you, mortal, but do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Who are you really?
Is that not enough for you?
I'm curious to know who you were before.
No, it was such a long time ago, I don't remember.
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Reed.
I'll leave you.
I have wasted too much energy for so little result.
Time has lost
Good
its
evening,
effect
sir.
on me.
Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
How close are you to Miss Hallcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain, it's real for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
But the suffering continues.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Simpletons, these nurses.
Good evening,
They
Mr.
take
Hampton.
No respect.
How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it?
What do you mean?
I was not myself in the factory.
You remained perfectly nice and polite.
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief.
Do you know Tom Watts?
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authority...
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best.
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent behavior.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood.
You dared to enter this awful place alone.
I'm just a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed.
What is the general situation in the East End, Doc?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot...
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his
Has the gang been threatening you?
Ah, no. I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the...
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton?
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion.
You're in good hands here.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Hampton?
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop?
That's a very strange question, Doctor.
What
I manage it.
Have you made friends since you were...
Not really. But I recognize Miss Harriet Jones.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke?
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor.
Goodbye, Miss...
Simpletons, these nurses. Bred with no respect.
Fear and disgust on every...
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good.
How would you describe the situation at the Pembroke?
It's serious. The flu is wreaking havoc amongst...
You must get a hold of yourself now.
Sorry, I'm exhausted.
Nurse Hawkins, the Spanish flu won't last forever.
I wish I could believe you.
How is the Pembroke staff coping with it?
Not well. Milton, the ambulance driver, is even more...
Why is Milton grumpy on a daily basis?
Milton's not the kind of man who's bothered about a bad reputation.
Why does Milton dislike doctors?
I don't know. Just ask him.
How long have you been a nurse?
Or long enough to see that the epidemic is winning.
You'd be surprised what dedication can achieve now.
Sorry, Doctor. I don't want to sound bitter.
Goodbye. Good evening, Dr. Strickland. Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Doctor.
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me.
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with...
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster.
I based my technique on my mentor's...
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first...
As long as you're cautious and methodical,
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well,
You seem quite optimistic.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test.
Questions remain about our capacity.
True.
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new medical techniques. What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question.
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack.
I agree. But that does not excuse Dr. Aykroyd's...
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied.
But why would he hide such crucial...
Because he is a proud father. Ashamed of...
Goodbye. I never thought I would have to attend my murdered sister's funeral. Mary, I can't forgive myself. I'll find the truth. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed.
That's quite a blunt introduction.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Doctor.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a...
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need...
Why do you have such a mediocre reputation?
Fuck them. Nobody knows the horrors I've seen since working in...
I know it's a difficult task, but correct me if I'm wrong.
I've seen babies left to die while their brothers were prop...
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, exactly. We lack words.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know.
But you're not defending yourself.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor.
How is the situation?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything. And it's getting worse every...
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to...
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently.
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing in.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital?
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor.
Goodbye. My dear sister, I don't know if I have the strength. I have this thirst for blood.
Somebody help!
Carnage. Is Father Whitaker's disciple a This man's far too old to be Samuel. No. By the look of his clothes, this man's a docker. Samuel isn't here. I had better follow the blood trail. Are you all right, miss?
I don't know. Who were those people? They wanted to kill me. Why? You seem to know a lot about them, sir. I am Shaoshun. Thank you so much for helping me, Miss.
Shouldn't you go back home, where you'll be safe?
Maybe later. But for now, I need to talk to my husband at the cemetery, Miss.
Shouldn't you go back?
Maybe later. But for...
As I feared, Samuel no longer preaches the good word. Since I can't reveal myself to my mother now, I must find a discreet spot to attend the ceremony.
I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. We commend unto thy hands of mercy, most merciful Father, the soul of our sister departed, and we commit her body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Why kill my Mary and stick her here in this cold, god-awful place?
These are the legal requirements for the epidemic, madam.
Oh, Avery, I feel so tired. Please take me home.
Yes, madam.
Oh, Mary. What have I done? If I could only change one thing. One thing. This is a nightmare.
Jonathan, there is nothing you can do but accept it.
What brings you here?
I thought you could use the company. I am so sorry for your loss, Jonathan.
She was a good person. Vibrant, full of life. She was kindness incarnate, my Mary.
You're a good person, Jonathan. And a young Ekon. A newborn cast into the night without so much as a candle to guide your way.
She had been scouring the most dangerous parts of London in search of me. And it led to her death.
Jonathan, don't.
I still hear her last thoughts. They echo in my head. Her mind shattered, and it haunts me.
Jonathan, stop. Listen carefully. You must come to terms with this. You must learn to live with what happened.
How is it possible? Tell me. Is it so easy to take a life every night, and then just smile and nod at those you spared?
Don't you see? You're doing the work of our enemies, feeding your remorse. We are weakest when we grieve, and the guilt blurs our senses.
And so this is why you're here. To warn me. You've felt this pain yourself. You too have endured this.
I don't want to lose you, Jonathan. I've lost so many friends. Loved ones I cherished. Pray for Mary's forgiveness, if you must.
Thank you, my lady. I will.
Good. But be careful. If I found you here, others may too.
What should I do then?
St. Mary's Church is not far from here. Go there and make your peace. Find the solace you need.
My lady wants me to confess.
No, Jonathan. It's you who wants to confess, I think.
It's locked, all right.
It's a leech! Get it! Die, vermin!
And off to church he goes, a newborn seeking divine consent to lick the blood from the soft and pointy crown.
Who are you? Make yourself known.
Newborn, you reek of guilt and pointless compassion. Shed your skin, forget your old weaker self.
What do you want from me?
Ascalon does not approve of lone wolves who bring unwanted eyes to our pastures.
So your name is Ascalon?
Ascalon's will is vampire law. Learn them, abide by them, or I shall return as your judge and jury.
These immortals try my patience with their plans and unsolicited counsel.
Come on, back to the shadow! Stop, vampire! God walks with me.
This man stunned me with his faith. His crucifix. This is not good news.
Stop it, Leech!
Yes? What is it that you want?
I'm sorry to disturb you at such a late hour.
No worries, my son. I'm still quite awake, having just returned from a funeral.
Yes, I know. I've forgotten what I wanted. I don't know.
May I help you, child? You seem somewhat perturbed.
I haven't the strength to cross the threshold. I wish to pray, to cleanse my soul.
The church is shut by order of the bishop. But I'm still the vicar of St. Mary's, if that is any use to you, my son.
You seem to me a good soul, Vicar. But this is a personal matter.
There are no secrets from God, my son. If your heart needs comfort, consider me your chapel. For I can be as silent as stone.
I've words for one departed. They're not for living ears to hear.
Your eyes burn with rage, yet I see the pain that lies beyond. I am here to lighten the burden of all God's creatures. Whatever you tell me is between us and the Lord.
Very well, priest. As you seem quite adamant.
Open your heart, my son. Tell me what burdens you. With whom do you wish to speak?
Just know, I cared for her.
You seem so troubled by the loss of this girl. What happened to her?
It was an accident. A terrible, terrible accident.
I see. And how are you feeling, my son?
I feel responsible. The pain is consuming me.
I have a final question for you, my son. This is of the utmost importance.
Ask your question, Vicar.
What would you like her to know?
I'm so sorry, Mary. I promise to find who is responsible for all this. I'll put an end to this horror.
You have been heard, my son, and your burden will lighten if your words are sincere. Go in peace now, and live your life in the way she would have wanted.
Whatever happened on this dock is between my sister and I. It does not concern God at all.
Good evening, Doctor. Can I help you?
Have you any news of Nurse Crane?
I'll never know what goes on in that place.
Do you need...
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I'm...
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London...
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye. I cannot enter.
Easy does it, boys. I'll deal with this vermin. Murderous bastard! The beast must die. Go on! Back to the shadows! Watch out! It's fast!
Filthy murdering bastard!
Remember you.
Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me. Made me this creature. What are you?
I am the land. You are our champion.
Riddles and rhymes. You took my life. Now you insult my mind.
Be stilled, my child. I bring understanding.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage, brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the serpent of knowing with iron spur.
I've had enough of others making decisions for me, pretending to know how I should feel or behave. So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity. Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one.
She arranged to have you buried in the same mass grave as your wife. I hope that might help.
I wasted too much energy for so little.
Disgust on every street corner.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
What can you tell me about the...
That Mr. Hampton killed Miss Jones in her room.
And did you see all this?
No. I was working by the tents when it all...
Where is Miss Jones's body?
I don't know. I'd imagine the morgue. It all...
Did you see Sean Hampton leave the hospital?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting the hospital.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least.
An invisible enemy?
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold...
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet.
Brilliant professionals, most of them.
Most of them. Is there a...
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of...
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated...
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limit.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please...
No. I may disagree with some conduct.
Goodbye.
Daily routine.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Rick.
Good...
I wonder what your last thought...
Good evening, Miss Howcroft.
I need blood, Doctor. Warm.
Tell me, Thelma, what do you really know about vampires?
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him hunt and kill.
You mean you actually saw a vampire?
Yes, and it has been the answer to my pain.
You have no idea what problems your claim could cause.
Why fear the truth? Strange things live.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood?
I'm not sure, Doctor.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else?
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul.
Do you require...
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
Good evening, Mr.
Evening, Doc.
Good...
Disgust on every street corner.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be,
Daily
sir.
routine.
God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the guard.
Leave him, Jonathan. This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned. By the sacred stole, this is very bad news. Bad news indeed.
What happened?
The hospital has been attacked. We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonnathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
Very well. I'll help you.
Jonnathan, please. I can't rely on anyone else. And this concerns you as it involves vampires. Someone has taken advantage of our more liberal tendencies here.
In what way?
Jonnathan, I may turn my head when you or her ladyship indulge, but I will not allow this place to become a nest for street feeders.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do you realize what that could mean for us?
Rest assured, I will protect you and your staff.
McCullum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonnathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this.